Hello and welcome to Into the Blue Channeling with myself, Sarah Evans, and the Pleiadian group of 9 and guests. In today's session, they want to speak to you about the Divine Feminine. And in fact, I pulled this card. Anyone listening to the audio edition, I'm showing a card which is very pink and beautiful. It says Divine Feminine 21. This is actually from my Lon deck. This. I'll just read what the colours represent because I think it's such a lovely image. So let's just start there. It says the colour pink is associated with the universal love for oneself and others, with sweetness and with tenderness and care. All attributes that are associated with feminine qualities. Brighter pink brings in an aspect of aliveness, excitement, high energy and power. They are fairest elements of the flower of life visible as a reference to the three-dimensional reality we are creating here on Earth. The light blue refers to our ability to express ourselves with honesty, tenderness and kindness. The blue 4 stars in the corners represent our form-based reality. The water in the background is representative of the emotional plane, the realm mostly associated with the feminine. Okay, so we'll get started in just a moment. I have a couple of announcements, and if you're here just to listen to the channel message, I will put in the comments below the timestamp to just jump straight to that, and you can listen to what the Pleiadians have to say this time. However, since my last episode, there's been a couple of new developments here into the Blue Channeling, and I just wanted to speak to that quickly, if I may. The first one being that I'm now offering a membership, a private members club, and this, to just explain where I'm coming from with this, obviously I do private sessions, and many of you listening have taken me up on that offer, and in our private sessions we can get into a lot more detail, a lot more personal stuff, a lot more stuff that is probably, in my mind, a little bit too edgy for the algorithm here, basically. And so I've always wanted to have a membership here, and I was working towards the goal of getting monetized. However, it's taking a while, and the Pleiadians actually said to me, just work around it, do it anyway. The messages are too important, and it's too important to help people. So I'm doing it anyway. And so if you look in the comments, you'll be able to see information about how to sign up. But essentially all of the private videos will be available for those that have signed up for this subscription. And the private videos will include 1 monthly private channeling with the PG9, 1 monthly meditation, 1 monthly remote Reiki session, and if I get at least 5 subscribers or more, I'm going to start hosting a monthly Zoom call for Into the Blue Channeling, which I think will be a lovely community space where obviously I can channel, but also it'd be nice for you guys to get to know one another a little bit, is my thinking. I thought that would be really fun. So yes, and the Pleiadians actually said to me, they're really eager for this and they really want me to push it out immediately, and I'm just like, okay, fair. Because obviously there's predictions for 2026, some of which I have not put in the public video for reasons you'll see if you go look at the private video, and they want people to have that information, basically. I've lost my train of thought. 1 second. What was I saying? Oh yes, and they were also wanting to talk about abundance, because there's people here who have not booked a one-to-one session, and the reason is finances. And so you might see this and see the cost of the monthly membership and just be like, oh, that's not something I can do at this time. And you know, if you really don't feel like you want to, then of course, no pressure. But the Pleiadians wanted to offer a manifestation technique for engaging with the frequency of money. The money has its own energetic field. And so I have channeled a guided meditation for members, and that is the first guided meditation. And we are expecting that everyone that listens to the guided meditation to receive back the monthly subscription price times 5, at least. This is the minimum. So whilst I cannot say that with 100% it will work, I think it works. And this is what we're offering for you, and so that's why we're starting there. But we're already thinking of what to do next for the members' videos, and so there's more coming there. And then secondly, I've started some Sunday coffee chats videos, and this will be a way for me to be able to just share more and just have a little bit of more chat with you. I've been feeling the need to want to share and chat and things like that, and so that's the place that will happen. And so that going forward, these channeling videos will have less of me chatting about stuff and more about the actual messages coming through. Okay, so that's it. So let's get started. Oh, I feel a lot of energy coming through, and it's made me feel a lot warmer. So I took my scarf off and I connected in to the Akashic Records and connecting to the PG9 at this time, Pleiadian group of 9. They're saying greetings. They're very glad to be here today, and they're very glad for this moment. They're saying they've been sharing for at least a year now, in fact 2 years now almost, about the unfolding for the collective, for humanity, and how excited they are and how things are moving in the way in which it was planned. And they're saying that this year and very, very soon, things are going to get really interesting. And so they wish to talk to you about this topic, about what's unfolding in the next weeks, and also a frequency. They're saying that in 2026 there is a frequency of the divine feminine getting stronger and more dominant, and they're saying that we are in fact moving out of the patriarchy and more into the matriarchy or divine feminine space, and they wish to speak to you about this. Okay, so firstly they're sharing that astrologically we're moving into, so Neptune is about to move into Aries, and I've been told many times that this is a really big moment, The Pleiadians are saying that the energies that we're coming into have not been felt for at least 140 years. And the planets are literally aligning into Aries, into kickstarting the new Earth. And they're like, if this excites you, yes, be excited. They're very excited. They're like cheering. They're showing like a ticker tape parade type scenario, celebration. So Neptune's moving to Aries, and then also on the 13th of February, Friday the 13th of February, you have Saturn also moving to Aries, and right before we go into the lunar new year, the year of the fire horse, which they've already spoken about. They're saying, okay, so why is Saturn going into Aries on Friday the 13th? And this is a big piece of what they wish to bring forth today, is to talk about the divine feminine and the number 13. They're saying that this might be not new information to many listeners, but they wish to emphasize the importance. As the 13 is the number of the divine feminine. Okay, Mary Magdalene just stepped in. She's just like, yes, the 13th disciple, quote unquote disciple, right? She's the 13th. Okay, so case in point, Mary Magdalene is the 13th disciple. And then they're saying that the number 13 has been treated as unlucky in the patriarchal ideology, and this is a repression of the divine feminine. But this is the year that the tables turn. So it is no surprise, they're saying, and it's no coincidence that in the year 2026 of Earth time, there are 3 Friday the 13th in the year. This is unusual, yes, and this is the power and resurgence of the feminine. They're saying it's very exciting. So think pink, like the card that I was showing, think pink. The Pleiadians are also sharing that there's many other aspects of 13 things that have been repressed by the patriarchy. For instance, we use the Gregorian calendar, which has different months, different days of the month. However, if you consider the true calendar, there's 13 months in the year of all equal of 28 days. The plane's like, this makes more sense, right? And it's partly the fault of the historical Catholic Church for why this came to pass, but the nature actually has 13 equal months of 28 days. They're like, they're like, decolonize your brain from this way of looking at things. It makes so much more sense, right? You know, a woman's cycle is 28 days, right? It's 28 days in a lunar cycle. This isn't by accident, this is by design. And they're saying, if you really want your mind to explode, let's talk about the fact that there should be 13 star signs in the horoscope, in the Western horoscope. That there's a missing star sign. Again, some listeners will be familiar with this, but to those that are not, they're bringing forth that this star sign begins with an O. They're showing me the name, and I don't want to butcher it, but it's kind of like Oculopus or something like that. Okay, they're laughing at me, and the reason why they're laughing at me, they're teasing me, is because actually my own birthday at the beginning of December falls under this. So this is actually my true sun sign. And I can't pronounce it. They're saying it's the serpent bearer. This is another example of the feminine 13 being a true reflection of reality, rather than the reality that we've been taught to believe by the old God, the old people in charge in our societies. But this is the year where things get interesting. They say things get interesting. Okay, So they want to also go in more to an explanation of the divine feminine from their perspective. And they're saying again, you might need to decolonize your brain from ways that you've been taught, from the education system, from religion, from things like this, that the feminine qualities are weak or less than. They're saying this is categorically untrue and unwise to feel like this. So they'd like to explain from their perspective about the feminine energy. They're saying that yes, the feminine qualities are the nurturer, the mother, the softer side of self. But they're like, there's no weakness in the divine feminine. The divine feminine is just as strong and just as equal to the divine masculine. But like case in point, okay, that's considered the mother archetype. Think of how a mother protects their young and does everything in their power to not just nurture but also protect. So it's this divine feminine that they are underlining, the sense of power in the feminine, the Shakti energy, the energy inside every single person, regardless of what gender you incarnated as. There's an equal amount of the divine feminine in every individual. You just have to choose to embrace it and step into that power. Thank you. Okay, so with that in mind, there are two entities also here. They're invited guests. We have Mary Magdalene. We also have Kali, goddess of a Hindu goddess. They've come to engage in this topic. So who's going first, guys? It's interesting because in their energy, the energies are actually similar between these two entities, okay? A lot of people have assumptions about Kali, but there's just as much fire in Mary Magdalene. And actually, I personally perceive Kali, I mean, she has kind of a bit scary eyes. They're very kind of like staring and like kind of looking. She's laughing at me as I say this. But actually, the energy that Kali brings forth. Okay, she says she only appears frightening to those that should be frightened by her. She says it's only those that have done wrong that bring on her wrath, and yes, those individuals should be afraid. But for the people that do not fit that category, she is a really strong entity, but not somebody to be afraid of or push away. There are some aspects of her that are like definitely, you know, to human eyes are creepy. She carries with her, what do you call that? She says mementos from past battles of limbs. But anyway, so we're not really sure who's going first. Let's hear from Kali, because we've not spoken to Kali. I've not channeled Kali in this way before. So she's coming in. She says hello, and she thanks me for this space, and she thanks you all for being open and receptive to the information. She says that this year there is an undeniable feminine rage that is required this year. And she says you don't need to repress that. That the part of the divine feminine is standing up for yourself and standing up for your community and standing up for what you believe to be true. She says that we're not coming here in some kind of fear-based paradigm. No, we're coming here to empower you and give you strength. Because this year is complicated. Not everybody will experience the fight, the battle, she says, but there will be a fair few people in their own ways that do need to step up. Step up for what you believe in. She says there's a massive fight unfolding in the 3D consciousness people. And it's hard to ignore everything that happens there, and she says you can witness it. It is, don't turn away entirely, but know that. She says take strength in the knowledge that they have one thing going on, but you are aware of what's really unfolding here, and this is the year where everything burns to the ground in order for it to be rebuilt in the divine feminine aspect. She's showing me a lot of different ways, the different institutions which will have a reckoning this year, including medical systems, political systems, academia, educational systems. There's a lot of things that are unraveling. And she advises that if anyone listening that works in these spaces, this is your chance to stay awake, yes, but also stay strong in the ethics that you stand for. There's a lot of things that have unfolded and are currently unfolding that are outside of your ethical or moral standards, and she invites you to bring, she says, that energy of feminine rage from her and channel that rage into productivity. Productivity for changing things for the better. All those that are change makers, this is your time, she says. This is your time to bring forth the world which you wish you were living in. She invites you to call for her anytime you need strength, that you need support. She says, do not be afraid. If anyone's interested in her, it's for a reason. And like she said at the start, it's only those that have grounds to fear her that you know, well, they're not even going to listen to this message, are they? So it doesn't apply. But she says she's here to help. In fact, she's suggesting that I do a guided meditation channeling her. We can do that. Yes, we can do that. So maybe that'll be coming on the membership. But But she says, yeah, she's here to help. She's here for you to stand in your power, she says, feel your backbone, feel your inner strength. Feel your inner strength. Okay, thank you. Okay, I have Mary Magdalene also coming in. Oh, that's so funny. The time on my clock right now is 13:13. Of course it is. Okay, so Mary's here again. Well, thank you for coming back. She says she would not miss this. This is her her area of expertise. Yes. She's showing me snakes. Oh, is this to do with the shedding of the snake? Yes. Yes. It also relates, she's saying it relates to her priestesshood in Isis, and also the Kundalini energy, but she's showing me snakes, and she says to remind you that you have 3 weeks left to shed the snake skin. Shed your snake skin of anything else that you wish to release prior to wow, she says prior to one of the biggest moments in human history. That sounds a bit frightening. I'm not gonna lie. She's like, hush, hush, girl, hush. It's not this. But she says, there's a quick reminder that if there's anything else you want to shook from yourself, anything that feels completely out of alignment, she's showing me an example of counselling, someone counselling a credit card where the credit card interest rate was much too high, and is she says, an energy vampire, a financial vampire. She's saying things like this, you know. It doesn't have to be spiritual, it can be in the mundane. You know, it can be as simple as scrubbing your bathroom, like cleaning the grout, she says. Okay. She says this is, you know, a brilliant time to just release any limiting beliefs that's holding you back. Release. Okay. And then she says, okay, so yes, this year is very divine feminine aspected. Okay. She's sharing with me about childbirth, about this being the moment that's called, in childbirth, it's often called transition, this moment where just before the baby is born, where you've been through a lot of pain and a lot of discomfort, and it's been a process and an ordeal for many. And she says this is the moment, we're in the moment now of transition, where you take a breath, and she says a lot of women at this point like decide no, they're not going to have the baby after all. And they kind of feel like, oh, this they feel a lot of feelings. And there is some terror that can creep in. But she says this is the moment right before. Okay, and then she's like, the ring of fire. The ring of fire during childbirth, where the head's being birthed, and she's like, yes, there's going to be flames, there's going to be fire, there's going to be flames, but we're nearly there in birthing the new earth. And so she says that she wants people to think of this moment as being about birthing the new earth, but about being the specific transition time in a childbirth, metaphorically. Thank you, Mary. She says as well, for the women in particular listening, you can release that skin, the snake skin of any belief systems from your childhood, from your girlhood, about women being weak, or the feminine being weak. She says, not at all. She says there's people listening to this that have eradicated pink from their reality because they have associations with it from their childhood, and associations that have been negatively tinted. Just like, examine that within yourself. Take a moment now to examine, what is it about notions of upholding your feminine side that feels triggering to you, which you feel like a reluctance for. So take a moment to examine that, and then you can release it, because this all needs to be released, because this is the divine feminine era, and we're stepping into it. And all those that use divine feminine principles in their daily life, in their businesses, in their friendship circles, they will all walk in greater alignment and in greater flow. She says, yes, flow is a part of the divine feminine, isn't it? So let things flow, let things move naturally rather than artificially or forcedly. Find your inner feminine flow with everything that you're doing. She says that will be all for now, but she will return again when we need her. Okay. Well, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, the Pleiadians. Thank you, Callie. Thank you, Mary Magdalene. Thank you to everyone listening. And I'll see you next time. And a reminder that the audience question and answers session is fortnightly, and anybody can submit a question. Just put it in the comments or send me an email. But I love to answer questions that are on your minds, so please do send them in. Okay, take care, be well. Hi there, it's Sarah. I just want to take a quick moment from regular programming to let you know some news. If you're listening to this, you might be someone who's tired of the constant battle with your awakening journey. Maybe you're feeling exhausted or isolated or completely out of sync with those around you. I get it, I really do. I used to be right where you are. So my name is Sarah Evans, and I'm a certified coach, yoga and Reiki professional. And I'm also someone who fully recovered from my own challenging chronic illness journey. And during that journey, I had several levels of spiritual awakening happen. And now I dedicate my life to helping those find your path and mentor through these challenges. My Healing and Wellness Mentorship is all about creating a personalised roadmap that actually works for you. We cover everything from the physical heavy stuff to your Akashic records and Reiki whole body healing. So think of me as your strategic yet deeply empathetic partner. It's practical, it's holistic, and it honours the whole you. And the best part, you don't have to commit to anything right now. Let's just have a chat. So my spaces for the Healing and Wellness Mentorship are intentionally limited because I dedicate so much of my energy to those that I mentor. So if you're ready to see what a manageable, fulfilling, awakened life looks like, just book a no obligation 15-minute discovery call. Head straight to my website, the link is in the show notes, and let's talk about your goals. I'm really looking forward to meeting you. Take care. Thank you for listening to Into the Blue channeling. Please do like and subscribe to receive about our upcoming episodes. See you next time.